I tend to think that, at our core, very much that human beings are very much the same in many ways. And as you look at some of the latest brain research, you can see that, particularly in studies of empathy. One of the things that you see very early on, even in young 2-year-olds or even younger, is this ability to trigger natural empathetic responses. And I think this idea of empathy is really important to start with when we think about ethics and we think about sustainability, we think about globalization. So empathy, when you think about it, has 3 basic triggers. We typically have empathy triggered when it's someone we know well, so those in our in-group, usually our family and friends. We often feel empathy when we see someone who's had an experience similar to our own. And then we feel or trigger empathy when it's right in front of us. And one characteristic of this generation that makes them different than any other generation is how much they've seen. So if you think about the images that they have seen from very young ages, just because it's almost the screen generation, like how many screens did you see from the moment you woke up this morning to the moment you got here? All the different images actually trigger certain responses in us. And we're seeing that right now, obviously, as we see images of oil and water, and then we feel a little bit more empathy when we might see the oil-covered bird, and then we feel a little bit more empathy when we might actually see and hear the stories of people whose livelihoods will never be the same. And kind of building from that sort of empathetic response is really a sense of a call to action. I think that's true for all human beings. I think, though, that for this generation, it's led to a cumulative effect, which is that they do see the world as a shared planet. I really appreciate that language that is kind of emerging. This whole idea of empathy really gets to the core of that. It's not about me only. It's about others. It's about us being together. And can I think and feel as another? And it's been pretty exciting to watch over the last 10 years as more and more students have wanted to go abroad. So more than half the students at our university choose to go abroad. And what I see, though, as a shift is they don't just want to go abroad and have a great trip or go abroad and come back with some academic credits. We're now seeing this idea that they actually want to go and make a difference. They are moved to see how other people live, and they are moved to actually say, well, my life could actually help alleviate this. Now, you've definitely seen this in other generations, but as they have seen so many images when they're at home, and they've seen these images experientially by going abroad, I think it does change them over time. And I think where this is leading us is that as they think about their future, that empathetic, this empathetic reaction that they've had over these years is kind of leading them to elevate both what they want out of life and what they want out of business, and also integrate those two things. So clearly we've heard about work-life balance being now blurred. I think they actually want to have a great quality of life, but a great quality of work. And so the emphasis is really on meaningful work. And some folks have said that this basically means that the millennials want to have their cake and eat it too. They want too much. And I think it's pretty exciting and inspiring to actually think about what this might mean for the future. So as we think about what might education, what might business, what might other organizations do to work with these leaders, I think it's really about harnessing this interconnectivity of all that they've seen and giving them an opportunity to make an impact.